them.
And these are two separate high schools that actually come together in their the high school band we could operate individually, but it's nice to see the two sides of the north and south come together with their marching band.
We have a lot of very talented young people in our communities, and I believe they're going to perform for us as they come through.
I think as they come through. Yep.
In New York City, the PSMA has set a goal to have our marching band head for Herald Square for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade to celebrate Plymouth's 400th anniversary. Please give your support to Plymouth's High School Marching Band. The Plymouth High School Marching Band. Right behind our Plymouth band, the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. They were uniformed all-volunteer components of the United States Coast Guard. The auxiliary was created by an act of Congress in 1939 and has grown to over 32,000 members who daily support the Coast Guard in all its non-military and non-law enforcement missions. We have members and units all 50 states, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands.
So the Coast Guard Auxiliary coming through now. And really, the parade has been in the order of the script we have until now.
Until now, yes.
But that's okay. They're still coming down the street, and that's the important thing. And, of course, that always happens. Yes. But, you know, it's actually been very, very much on schedule. Well, I don't know about timing, but the Coast Guard Auxiliary.
You can hear everybody clapping for them on the hill as they come walking through.
Oh, yes. Look, that crowd is still pretty strong there.
Well, for people who haven't been sneaking back to the food tent, because
Yes.
for those of you who might be in this area, you know that the becoming regionally famous
It is.
New England
Especially to
Food
get warm.
Festival happens here every year.
It certainly does.
Warm and fed well.
Well, warm and fed well is right.
I think perhaps we should request that we be set up in the food tent next year.
I think that we should have
that's only
total
fair.
flaps and heater here if we're going to do this again.
But you know what? I will say, and I'll be honest, and I push for this. It is exciting to be down here because
Yeah,
you
it
really
is.
get a sense of what's happening. And as I said,
Yeah, we know that's your fault for going to the
I know.
warm studio to the waterfront. That's very good.
Well, for people who have been following our coverage over the years, we did have our MCs back in the studio the last few years while we had our camera people down here on the waterfront, and this is our first year coming back down. So I'm very thankful that it's in the 40s and not the 20s like the last time we were here.
This is the Civil Air Patrol, I believe, coming down right now.
That's right.
Yes, it's the Plymouth Squadron of the Civil Air Patrol. They're actually based at the community airport in Plymouth Airport, and they are an auxiliary of the U.S. Air Force. They do a lot of community service work, and they're an amazing group that's really helping to train young people to give back to their community.
Yes, and I think this is John F. Kennedy being transported here, a young JFK who is waving to the crowd. Of course, the 50th anniversary that was just celebrated.
And as you can see, the automobile was a Lincoln, very similar to the one that he was in Dallas that sad day.
Yes.
One of his most famous lines is printed on the car. Quote, "Ask not what your country could do."
And I believe we're seeing one of our sponsors here as well.
I think this is the part of the Boston Heroes, which are coming up here with one of our final tributes to heroes, although we continue right to the end.
And talking about the heroes that we see in our everyday and in our community. And
Our next corporate sponsor is Boston Sand and
wanted to take the opportunity to really pay tribute to the people who were affected by the bombing at the marathon, but also in addition to really pay tribute to all of those people who were first responders and everyday heroes.
Exactly, and that is depicted here, EMTs, runners, volunteers.
I believe once they're here, they're going to take an opportunity to speak to everybody as well.
This has been a moving time for this area here in Massachusetts, and how we were affected, basically affected the entire nation, really changing the way we live here in this area.
The marathon is really something, the Boston Marathon is something that's owned by the world. You know, it's an event that everybody loves and a part of it, and a time in a city that everybody really enjoys. They're being followed. Some of the folks you saw were walking were some of the first responders, and I now believe they are being, I believe this is the MIT Police Honor Guard.
Yes, I think so.
And they are here with us and walking today in memory of slain officer Sean Collier, who was killed on April 18th following the bombing at the Boston Marathon.
I think actually this is the Boston Gaelic column.
Oh, I am
We've had
sorry.
some of these units a little bit out of order, but
I am sorry about that.
But you never know what happens toward the end of this parade. But anyway, the Boston Gaelic column.
These are police officers from around the state that actually are part of this. Actually, we have one of our own police officers from here in Plymouth that's in here as well. It's Paul Boyle, who's a member of this Boston Gaelic Pipe and Drum.
And this is the float that we were telling you about, Boston Strong, and I think we're just going to let this speak for itself.
I think so.
And here we have the medical outreach after the trauma center. We also have Robert Wheeler, ran the marathon after putting a tourniquet on the victim's leg, and participated. John Cole, the assistant agent in criminal investigation with the FBI, helped capture the bomber. Deborah Fisher, wife of Joe Fisher, was sitting right there with his trusted dog, who helped at the finish line. Mary Doherty, support staff, direct patient care, is here with us again. The Boston Medical Center, as you can see, are here represented, and the Boston EMS for all the heroic work for a very, very tragic day as we all have today. So let's just stay and give them honor. We appreciate you. We thank you. Boston Strong. Here's our float for Boston Sand representing Boston Strong, and they're all representing. This float goes by. I want you to think of the four people that are not here with us tonight because of that tragedy. They're on the back, and we're going to honor their deaths in this remembrance. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Right up behind them are one of the most premier drum and bugle corps very aptly representing the Boston Senior Crusader Drum and Bugle Corps. The Crusaders are celebrating.
And we'd like to thank Ollie for that. And now we have the Drum and Bugle Corps, the Boston Senior Crusader Drum and Bugle Corps, at the reviewing stand. They're celebrating 19 years as an alumni corps. In the last 15, they've traveled the country, entertaining audience with the Crusader music that so many have come to learn to know and love.
Boston Crusaders. Don't forget to order your tickets for tonight's Senior Drum and Bugle Corps concert over at Memorial Hall.
And the Boston Senior Crusader Drum and Bugle Corps are just finishing their performance, and they are, as usual, wonderful. They're celebrating 19 years, as we said earlier, as an alumni corps, and the last 15 they've traveled around the country. They really blend new and innovative arrangements with songs of yesteryear that people still love.
Right.
We've got the Old Colony Model T cars again.
And throughout this segment, as we continue to celebrate, local heroes and groups associated with Boston and
right.
giving tribute to those who were affected by the marathon bombing. We have some continued Old Colony Model T cars coming down the waterfront now.
This is quite the assembly of old cars. It's this Old Colony Model T Club is amazing how many automobiles they have.
It's pretty impressive, the number of vehicles that we've been seeing. And we're starting to near Looks like we're starting to near the end of our parade. We do have Sullivan Tire, another one of our sponsors.
Yes, right. Sullivan Tire, of course.
And they have the Boston Red Stockings here. This is the Boston Red Stockings, a vintage baseball team which is dedicated to preserving the memory of the Boston's first professional baseball team and Boston's first professional baseball champion. This team is modeling on the Boston Red Stockings, a team that competed the National Association from 1871 to 1875, winning 4 championships. There it goes.
And there he is, our friend Wally, the Green Monster. And it looks like Wally shaved his beard too. As we know, the Red Sox shaved theirs after their championship season.
You know, it's exciting to actually get Wally down here with all the notoriety that the Boston Red Sox had.
And also, and look at that. Those kids are not having a good time at all traveling through the parade route with Wally.
That's Ollie's 2 girls there in the background next to Wally, so they're having a blast. And they deserve it for all the time that their dad
I was going to say, for not having seen their dad probably for the last month.
Championship float.
Yes, and you know, they decided, for those of you who follow this parade, America's Hometown Thanksgiving Celebration really does honor our sports teams when they have won championships, and we've been so lucky with that. But for this year in particular, really wanting to say thank you to the Red Sox for how they honored this city throughout this year.
And then you have the Boston bullpen cop who raised his hands. If you look at the end of that float, look at it. That famous picture.
I'm thinking his arms are a little sore at this point.
Right.
Because I'm sure he's
had a long
had
run with his arms up there. But it certainly is something that we forever will remember. That that game with his arms in the air and the opposition with his feet in the air.
What a reason the Red Sox had this year, winning
and you
all.
won't find a single person on the Hill who is not smiling right now watching this.
And that was really a turnaround point in the quest for the World Series for the Red Sox with that big grand slam, and that particular motion right there depicted it all. So.
He might be tired, but he's absolutely enjoying himself still.
To represent the department at police funerals, parades, and other ceremonial occasions. The MIT Police Department Honor Guard set a new standard.
I think this
and
is
here
now the
we
MIT,
are, yes, with the MIT Police Honor Guard. I do apologize for that error earlier. But they are marching here with us today in memory of slain officer Sean Collier, who was killed on April 18th following the bombing at the Boston Marathon. And he was honored, and his life's goal was to become a police officer. He did become a Somerville police officer.
That's right.
Let's hear it again for the
And
MIT.
a moment of silence for Sean.
Yes.
Honor Guard.
You know, that's a very memorable moment, even right there, just to have that silence from the crowd. You know, they recognized that it was cheering for the Red Sox, but it's somber as well.
Right. And again,
Very
talking
touching.
about heroes past and present,
right.
and clearly Sean was a hero present, sacrificing his life on our behalf.
Let's hear it for Watertown's finest.
Of course, these are the Watertown Police. As you know, that they were the police department that was worked feverishly to make sure that they were captured the terrorists that difficult time here in the city of Boston, and we pay tribute to the Watertown Police as well.
Yes. And the whole nation watched as that drama unfolded. But Marty's GMC, following this now, is going to be sponsoring, of course, a tremendous theme at Thanksgiving that has come, I think, in its 3rd year now, of collecting food along the parade route for the America's Hometown Express.
Yes.
And Vinny, tell us a little about the origin of that, where that came from.
Well, it's this America's Hometown Express was an idea that came from actually a colleague of mine who was talking about a parade that she was helping raise for a food pantry, and I kind of mentioned the whole little concept about doing a little train with my brother Ollie, and I had an idea of a little train.